Well, hello there. My name is Stuart, and I'm here to actually start a series of pregnancy videos. This is going to be fun. My wife and I just recently found out that we're pregnant, and I'm excited to get started on this project. I'm glad you're here to join me and my wife through this experience. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, hold on, pregnancy videos, then why are you doing it instead of your wife? Well, that's a very good question, very warranted. So actually, my wife and I thought it would be interesting if we did this through my perspective. As we've been trying to get pregnant, my wife and I have followed and watched several pregnancy vlogs done by several people about their journey through pregnancy, what it's like from the start all the way through birth and even raising kids. And while we were watching those videos, I would always joke with my wife, well, what about the man's perspective? What's he going through? How is he feeling? She eventually convinced me that it would be interesting to get, my point of view throughout this whole process. And well, here I am doing this project. So everything's going to be through my point of view. I'll be talking about what we experienced together and giving some insight as to what I, as a man, am going throughout this whole journey. And so hopefully, if there's any men out there who are wondering what it's like to have a pregnant wife or pregnant significant other, hopefully I can provide some insight there. Now, let me just give a disclaimer for this video and every single video I make hereafter. These are my opinions and my experiences, which means that my opinions and my experiences can and probably will be different from yours, and that's okay. Internet, it's okay to have different opinions on things. So either way, take everything that I do with a grain of salt. If you don't agree with something, you have a different experience or viewpoint, that's fine. Your experiences are going to be completely different. Your situations and circumstances completely unique to you. I just hope that I can provide a little bit of insight as to what I go through, just like the other videos that you see out there, and maybe you can learn a few things from them, or you can just ignore my opinions completely. That's perfectly fine. My wife does watch all the videos that I am creating. We're creating these together. It's just me being the spokesman here. So she does approve everything that is published here on the internet. So let me give you a little bit of background about us and some of our opinions and feelings about our pregnancy, so you can sort of get a baseline as to how I'm going to approach this in any other future videos. So we actually have been trying for about 2 years now. We've been married for 3, and both of us are really, really eager to have kids. I came from a large family having 4 siblings. She also came from a large family having 5 siblings. And we both, as we talked about our future and about planning to have kids, we both agreed that we wanted more or less that same size of family. So we are looking to have at least 4 kids. I mean, of course, this is all tentative now. We have lots of time to make changes and whatnot, but that is right now our ideal goal. We didn't want to wait for a few years to pass before we started having kids. We wanted to have kids as soon as we could. So we've been trying for a while, and well, luck has evaded us for quite some time. Fortunately, it seems like we got pregnant this time. Well, I should change that. We do know that we got pregnant. We took a pregnancy test recently. It came out positive, which we were ecstatic about. We actually kind of had a feeling that we were pregnant when, before making this video, she had some of the symptoms of pregnancy, a little bit of nausea, tender breast area, and was starting to feel a little bit more hungry at times. So we had a feeling that she was pregnant, and well, the pregnancy test just confirmed everything. So to us, it wasn't really any shock or surprise, because we kind of called it ahead of time. But we are very, very ecstatic that finally we're pregnant. We've been trying for so long, and we finally made it. Now, one of the reasons why it took us so long is because my wife has PCOS, or polycystic ovarian syndrome. Fortunately, she seems to be more on the tame side of it, where it doesn't impact her too much, but it still is significant enough to where it has thrown off her ovulation, and at some points makes it really hard for her to ovulate on her own. And that's kind of important if we want to have kids. So we were glad that didn't provide too burdensome for us. We were really worried for some time that we would not be able to get pregnant without medical intervention. It was like, that's rather a scary thing to hear, especially as a husband. You know, the thought that depending on the situation, we might need to do, well, not only expensive treatments, but for PCOS, sometimes really, really intense treatments, like sometimes different surgeries to get kids. And it's a scary thought that, well, since both of us want to have a large family, it's a scary thought that we may potentially only have one or two. So the fact that we got pregnant before we went for that kind of medical intervention is a huge relief, especially for me, knowing that we can still reproduce on our own. It's a very calming feeling throughout all this. So yeah, kind of interesting getting a positive pregnancy test proved to be a relief rather than a shock. Who'd have thunk? After discovering that we were pregnant, I would say that everything at that point seemed normal, at least in terms of how she was feeling, besides the slightly tender breast, slightly sore all over as well, and slightly hungrier than normal. But this day, start of week 6, she has started to increase in appetite a ton. Normally, she eats about half as much as I do, and I usually finish dinner and any meal way before she does. As of today, she is eating as much as I am. And that's probably one of the bigger shocks I've had at pregnancy. Like, holy crap, your appetite just like spiked through the roof. I've already joked with her that it must mean that she's having a boy, or else she wouldn't have this kind of appetite. Of course, it's way too early to tell, but I just find it interesting that she's suddenly become that hungry. She also eats sometimes faster than I do, which, you know, she has to pace herself, because if she eats too fast, then she does start to feel a little bit more nauseous than not. So that's an interesting change that has happened so far. Other than that, nothing else really has changed, you know, emotional-wise, physically. Everything else seems fairly standard right now in terms of her being pregnant. Other than that, we know that she's pregnant, she just eats more, which to me is slightly amusing. Alright, so that's it for this week, but thank you very much for watching. I look forward to continuing making these videos as we go throughout this pregnancy journey. I'm hoping to have lots of fun with this. Anyway, see you next week. Stay awesome.